The elevator stopped so suddenly that my coffee flew out of the cup and splashed across my shirt. For a moment, the entire building seemed to hold its breath. The lights flickered once. Twice. Then silence. Not the ordinary silence of an office building, but the kind that makes your heart pound louder than your thoughts. I looked up and realized I wasn't alone. Standing 3 feet away was the most powerful woman in the entire building. And when those elevator doors finally opened 47 minutes later, my life would never be the same again. Before we continue, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Heartwarming Tales if you believe kindness and second chances can change someone's life. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories to the channel. It was a bright Tuesday morning in late spring. The city skyline shimmered beneath a clear blue sky, and sunlight poured through the massive glass windows of the 40-story office tower where I worked. My name is Rowan Mercer, and at 34 years old, I was invisible to most people in the building. I worked in maintenance. Most employees walked past me without noticing. They saw the polished floors, the repaired lights, and the clean hallways, but they never thought about the people responsible for keeping everything running. That morning had already been difficult. My mother was recovering from surgery, medical bills were piling up, and I had spent most of the previous night worrying about how I would make ends meet. I stepped into the elevator on the 22nd floor carrying a toolbox and a half-finished coffee. Just before the doors closed, a woman entered. Everyone in the company knew who she was. Vivian Cross. The CEO. The woman whose decisions affected thousands of employees. The woman who appeared on magazine covers and business channels. The woman people described as brilliant, fearless, and impossible to approach. I immediately looked down, hoping not to attract attention. Then the elevator stopped. The sudden halt nearly knocked us both off balance. Emergency lights switched on, bathing the elevator in a soft white glow. I pressed the emergency button. No response. The intercom crackled. Then died. For several minutes neither of us spoke. The silence felt heavier than the steel walls surrounding us. Eventually, Vivian sat on the floor. To my surprise, she looked tired. Not powerful. Not intimidating. Just tired. The kind of tired that comes from carrying responsibilities nobody else can see. I sat across from her. Outside, somewhere deep inside the building, emergency crews were working to restore power to part of the system. Inside, time seemed frozen. As the minutes passed, something unexpected happened. The walls that separated our worlds slowly disappeared. Without assistance, conference rooms, or titles between us, we were simply two people stuck in the same small space. She asked about my family. I told her about my mother. About the hospital visits. About the second job I worked on weekends. About the dreams I once had before life became focused entirely on survival. She listened carefully. Not politely. Not because she had to. She genuinely listened. Then she shared something I never expected. Despite her success, she felt alone. She spoke about spending years chasing achievement. About missed birthdays. Lost friendships. A marriage that had quietly fallen apart while she was busy building an empire. For the first time, I saw the human being behind the headlines. The powerful CEO everyone admired carried invisible scars of her own. The elevator became strangely quiet again. But this time the silence felt different. Comfortable. Human. Outside, sunlight continued flooding the city. Inside, two strangers were discovering that pain doesn't care about job titles. Nearly half an hour passed. The air grew warm. My phone battery died. Vivian stared at the floor for several moments before saying something that surprised me. She admitted that she often wondered whether people in the company feared her more than they respected her. That question seemed to weigh heavily on her. I thought carefully before answering. Then I told her the truth. Most people admired her achievements. But many felt unseen. They knew her as a leader. Not as a person. The moment those words left my mouth, I worried I had crossed a line. But instead of becoming offended, she nodded. As though she had needed someone honest enough to say it. For the next 15 minutes, we talked about employees. About families. About struggles people carried silently into work every day. About how easy it is for organizations to focus on numbers and forget the human beings behind them. I wasn't speaking to a CEO anymore. I was speaking to another person trying to understand the world. Then came the sound. A distant metallic clank. Voices. Movement. The elevator suddenly shook. The emergency system restarted. Bright lights returned. The doors slowly began to open. For a brief second, neither of us moved. Because both of us knew something important had happened inside that elevator. Something neither title nor status could explain. Outside stood a group of engineers, security staff, and worried executives. Everyone rushed toward Vivian. Questions flew from every direction. Was she okay? Did she need medical attention? Should meetings be postponed? The attention returned instantly. The invisible wall between our worlds started rebuilding itself. I picked up my toolbox and prepared to leave. That was when Vivian turned around. In front of everyone. She called my name. Not maintenance worker. Not sir. My actual name. Then she thanked me. Not for fixing something. Not for helping during the emergency. She thanked me for being honest. I nodded awkwardly and returned to work. I assumed that would be the end of the story. I was wrong. The following week, changes started appearing throughout the company. Employee listening sessions were introduced. Support programs expanded. Managers received training focused on communication and empathy. Executives began spending time with frontline employees. People noticed the difference immediately. The atmosphere changed. Slowly. But noticeably. A month later, I received an invitation to a meeting. When I entered the conference room, Vivian was waiting. She offered me a new position helping improve communication between leadership and employees. I was stunned. Not because it was a promotion. But because someone had finally seen me. For years I had believed my voice didn't matter. That ordinary people were meant to remain in the background. That day proved otherwise. Sometimes the most important conversations happen in unexpected places. Sometimes life changes inside a stalled elevator. And sometimes the person with the greatest power isn't the one sitting in the corner office. It's the person willing to speak honestly when honesty is needed most. Before the ending, I have a special request for everyone watching. Comment below with one act of kindness that changed your life or restored your faith in people. Your story might inspire someone who needs hope today. A year later, my mother had recovered. The bills were manageable. Work felt meaningful again. And every time I stepped into an elevator, I remembered that extraordinary moments often begin as ordinary days. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Heartwarming Tales. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind us of the power of compassion, understanding, and second chances. Because sometimes, when the doors finally open, it isn't the building that is changed. It's us.